Doesn't look like much ice out here, but it's definitely slick. So a couple videos ago, I had talked about how spring has sprung. Well, not exactly, and I did kind of know that it was a little bit early to declare that spring had sprung, because obviously when it's in January, a lot can happen between middle of January and April 19th, which is our last frost date here, the estimated last frost date. The amount of ice all over everything is kind of deceiving. So we had some places to go today, but I don't think I'm comfortable driving, so we're gonna stay home.
Good morning, good boy. Watch out, it's so much ice. Go back in the barn, bud. Go back in the barn.
I might be locked out of the greenhouse. Frozen out of the greenhouse. Or not, I got it. 31 in here, but on the ground, the water is still wet. So there's a lot of radiant heat still hanging out in the soil here. And so the floor hasn't frozen. So that's good to see. My little baby seedlings inside our little seedling tent in here. I took a risk in leaving them out last night. Our low this morning, which was just a couple hours ago, was 22. And even frost-tolerant brassicas, they absolutely have their limits. And usually seedlings are a little bit more sensitive than mature plants that have been allowed to really acclimate for a long time. These guys have been in the greenhouse for at least 10 days, I think. And they have experienced some low temperatures, but this was definitely the lowest low. So it looks like everything actually did really well in the little mini greenhouse within the greenhouse overnight. I wasn't exactly sure what was gonna happen, but one of the reasons that I did take the risk was because I wanted to learn what would happen. We haven't had this greenhouse very long. I haven't grown very many things in it for very long, and so I'm still kind of trying to work out what my limits are and what exactly I can do in this space. So for right now, it looks like as low as 22 degrees Fahrenheit outside, as long as I have the seedlings in this double layer system. Probably even if I didn't, they're gonna be just fine. And again, these are frost tolerant. I would never risk anything like this with tomatoes or peppers or anything that's frost tender. Let's see, 31.8, so just barely below freezing, about 3 feet up off the ground. And it looks like the seedlings that Shika and I planted, none of them have sprouted, but I can't say that I'm surprised. So they'll come up when they're ready. We really aren't in any rush. Hopefully I can get out of here. There we go.
Hi, boys. Hello.
It's that breeze that really gets you. My eyes are watering. So I don't know if we have really the ability to get this frost cover off of the garlic or not, but I was trying to avoid having the green parts of the garlic freezing, because if those die, the garlic bulbs underneath will probably be fine, but it's just more energy that they've used up that they can't really get back. And so I think if I cover the garlic and protect those greens from possibly freezing and dying off, then it just means more energy that can go back down into the bulb later on.
I did the same thing with the strawberries over here.
Yeah, we're not unearthing them today. I didn't just put frost fabric over the plants. I knew that this ice was going to be potentially decently heavy, and I didn't want the plants to have that weight on them, especially with the garlic greens. I didn't want them, breaking. So there's a rolled up piece of fencing under there and the frost fabric over it, and I guess they're going to be like that until we thaw back out.
Hi, girls. Hi, Abby. Hi, Abby. first. Okay?
How come the stars come to shine when it's dark? From so far away, show us where we are. What makes the sun go to sleep every night? And what's it dreaming of?
Ciao.
I wonder.
There you go. Yay, we're in.
How come the sky sometimes hides behind the clouds? Maybe it's just like me, a little bit scared of heights. Why does the rain always keep on pouring down when it's gray outside? It really makes me wonder. Yeah, it makes me wonder. It really makes me wonder.
Hello.
What wonder?
Watch out, back up. The two particular boys that I have out here, I actually have been really scaling back the amount of hay that they've been getting because, you know, prior to today, we've had some really warm temperatures and the grass really started growing. And this pasture is pretty big. We used one roll of fencing to make this pasture. I know that it's 100 feet long on the two long sides, and I'll have to ask Levi. I think the roll of fencing is 330 feet. So it must be 50 feet wide and 100 feet long, and that's a pretty good amount of pasture for one roll of fencing, and definitely big enough for a couple of Nigerians. So they need hay today, though. I don't really think they're going to be eating the ice-covered grass at all, even though there's a lot of it out there. I do have quite a few freeze-free hydrants outside, and they function really well when you don't let them ice over the way that I've let them ice over the last couple of storms and freezes that we've had. Ideally, it would have been smart for me to like place a bucket over them because I can't open them when the spigot is iced over like that. So we'll have to come back out later with the torch so that I can open it and give them fresh water. But for now, breaking a hole in the top of the ice will work. I get asked all the time, how much space do I need to keep Nigerian dwarf goats? And when I was researching goats for myself, I learned that you really only need about 200 square feet of space. And that includes about 10 square feet of shelter space. So back there, that 100-foot by 50-foot pasture, if I'm doing math right in my head, is 5,000 square feet. So it's quite big for two Nigerians. 200 square feet would be something like a 10 by 20, which is like the size of 2 bedrooms in a house. I don't think that 200 square feet is going to provide enough pasture, so you'd have to probably supplement with hay. But as far as the space they need to move around and stretch their legs and for general health, 200 square feet per Nigerian is the minimum, and it's actually pretty doable for a lot of people. Come on, Meg. Meg, Meg. No. Come on, Meg. Good girl. Good girl. Not yet. You ready? So I'm pretty sure that this is the last time that you guys are going to be able to see Rory on camera at our farm. So every time I think about it, I definitely shed a little tear. So hopefully I can get through this without crying, but I kind of doubt it because I feel like coming on. Rory here, she's the first goat that I ever owned. I actually bought her, Pepper, Barely, and Tumnus all at one time from Living Traditions Homestead. But really, like when I went to buy the goats, Rory was my main focus, and she's been a really good girl. She's still a really good goat. We've been making some culls this year to our herd simply because I have to make space for goats that really meet what my herd goals are. I really want to create a herd of goats that has a really high milk capacity, that also has a lot of really great parasite resistance. And Rory really does meet both of those things. However, she's an older goat. She's 8 this year, and as far as the milking doe herself, she does have an issue where her udder doesn't work really on one half. So I have a couple of her daughters so we can carry on her good genetics along. I'm keeping Pesky, who is Rory's daughter. There's little pieces of Rory that are staying behind, but as one of my foundation does, the first goat that I ever owned, she means a lot. So she's going to a very, very good home though. They're gonna love her a lot. You ready to get down? She doesn't care. Right? You don't care. You just want to get down. More food, right? So on the note of the mini La Manchas, as far as I can tell right now, all of my La Manchas are bred. So I've got 4 La Manchas does in the barn right now. There's Christine and Elpis, Talia here, and Calamity. And Christine, the copper colored one, she's the only one that is bred back to another standard La Mancha. She was bred back to Hamish. The other 3 La Manchas were bred back to Havoc. Our Nigerian dwarf buck that is polled, and he's also got moon spots. So I was gonna use the last part of this video to basically show you how I can tell my girls are bred, but I think I'm gonna make that a separate video just because I want that kind of information to be more easily searchable and not just kind of stuck at the end of a vlog. I missed. So I'll be posting that video soon, and we're also going to be having some more goat births coming up. My Kiko Nubian Schwenli was also bred to Hamish, and she's giving birth in early March. And we also have a first freshener, Tempest. She's going to be giving birth in early March as well. So lots of exciting things, but first we have to get through February, and thank goodness it's a short month. What? You didn't like that?